Hey, good Wednesday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majewski coming to you from the North Georgia Majestic Weather Studios with a special edition of the Weather Report here on your May the 6th, 2026. Obviously, the big weather news story for today is going to be the pending severe weather for today. I think it's going to be one of those situations, I'm going to be honest with you, where it's going to be a big event or a complete bust, just depending on how things set up. Now, I'm thinking North Georgia, you're not going to be looking too bad today. I'm going to explain why I think especially the northern counties are going to be okay, but we are still going to be looking at plenty of rain today, folks. A lot of heavy rain, much needed. This is going to give the lakes a nice little recharge there and will definitely make a nice dent in the drought that we've been fighting since basically fall. And we're going to see some meaningful rains. Now, right now, I've got the latest radar up. You're seeing some of the showers and thunderstorms there tracking across Tennessee and northern Alabama right now, coming into the northeastern portion. So this is the initial stuff kind of getting underway. And we're going to see action here pick up and here across northern portions of our counties here first before we get into the heavier action going into later tonight. So I was waiting on the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. It doesn't look like there have any major changes so far. If it does, don't worry. I will make sure I post it on Facebook for you guys to see the latest updates. So let's go ahead and get into this. So let's break this down. This is the latest here from the Storm Prediction Center. As you can see, areas in Mississippi and Alabama, that's where the main action is going to be. This is where the best dynamics and the best heat instability is going to be for today. All right, now some of the initial rains coming in across northern Georgia. You'll notice here a lot of North Georgia here is in the green here, these far northern counties, and that's because it won't be, the heat source is not going to be as good. The temperatures won't be as warm. The instability, we'll get some stability in there with some initial rains, I think will help just a little bit. But let me go in a little bit closer here as we're going to kind of break down the categories here across our area. So again, we're talking from, Ringgold, Dalton, all the way over to Clayton. These northern counties up here, you guys are in the marginal risk, but look where the yellow is coming from here. So we're talking Calhoun, Dahlonega, getting over to Hartwell, Elberton, coming back toward Athens. All of Metro Atlanta's underneath this. Noonan, Carrollton, down to LaGrange and Columbus. Everybody here in that level 2. Again, that orange and that enhanced area is level 3 over toward Birmingham. All right, so let's look at the breakdown here for today. Let's look at the tornado risk here. And we're still showing that brown area here from Somerville down toward Carrollton here. That's that 5% risk here for tornadoes. The green area here stretching from Blue Ridge down toward Noonan, that is your 2%, okay? So we'll see how this works out. I kind of favor something a little bit further south than this, at least looking at some of the initial model data I'm seeing right now. But we will watch this very closely. I'm not overly concerned about the tornado risk. I'm going to show you that reason why here in just a second. Looking at your wind threat, this is going to be substantial here, I think. Again, we're looking at some individual severe thunderstorm warnings that are possible with some winds up to 60 miles per hour. So what that means for you guys today, this morning, is to do your preparation. Make sure that your umbrellas are down and your backyard furniture. It's been kind of warm here lately. Put that away. Get your furniture secured and make sure your trash cans are in the garage or secured on the side of the house away from the wind. Do what you got to do in that area. And then the hail threat's not overly high. Again, that northwest zone will be favored there for some hail, maybe up to quarter-inch size in that zone. So that's how it's breaking down for today. And by the time we get to tomorrow, we're just looking at a general thunderstorm threat here, probably during the early as it starts to clear on out of our area here. So again, this is what we're dealing with here for this afternoon. So as we look at the satellite picture here for this morning, actually satellite picture's down right now. They're in the process of doing a reboot on that thing. So let me bypass that thing for right now. Let's go ahead and get into the model data here. We're going to do a little bit different than what I normally do here for you guys that watch our updates here normally. So we're specifically focusing on the severe weather aspect here for today. All right, so let's get into the different things that are going on here. So this is a radar representation here as we head toward the noon hour of what we're going to be seeing here for today. So again, you kind of see where the storms are now, and they'll push off to these. So this initial storms we're tracking right now this morning is going to be, again, hitting that in those northern counties here just a little bit here as this swings on by. But we're going to wait for stuff to get fired up here later this afternoon. Here's another little cluster of storms coming in here at 1 o'clock. And then as we get toward the prime 8 daytime heating here, look at this heavy stuff here as we get toward 5 o'clock. Northwest Georgia, stretching all the way back in here. This is where we'll get things start cranking here. Now, down further south you go, it's going to be a little bit later for you guys to get on this, but this will eventually swing to the south as this comes on through. So this is the timing window here. So again, between 4 o'clock and then kind of sweeping through the area here as we go toward the evening hours. At 8 o'clock, I think we're pretty much done. We'll get some more rain overnight, But once this initial stuff swings on through, this will be where the severe weather will be coming on through here for night. So I am anticipating on doing live severe coverage starting about 4 o'clock, and we're going to carry this right on through into the evening hours. And then we're looking at just a rainy and stormy night after that. It's going to linger for a while because the front is not in a big hurry. It'll come on through a little bit later, and then this thing will clear on out. All right, so that's our time. That's our time schedule here on this. So let's break this down a little bit here. Again, very heavy rains across the area there. No changes here. I think this is very much what we needed. Let's just hope we can get by without any significant severe weather damage on this. Again, I think a lot of North Georgia will be okay, but I think the further south you go, where it's warmer, that's where the better opportunities for severe weather are going to run today. All right, so let's look at the instability, okay? Instability. What exactly is instability? That's a fancy word for heat, all right? What we need warm, moist air to lift these thunderstorms. That's what they feed off of, okay? So we have little numbers. This is what we call CAPE. And as we head toward the 4 o'clock hour, you notice the highest levels are down here across Alabama. We're coming up here into Georgia. They're not overly high. Okay, definitely seen all the way, but I mean, you're talking 500, 800, 900. Look at a lot of North Georgia here. Not seeing much there, but down toward Metro Atlanta, we're seeing more down toward the south, obviously. So the further south you go, the better instability, so the better moistness of the air, the better lift you're going to kind of get with that in that area. And then you'll see the front kind of sliding on through here and slides down to the south. So again, going into those evening hours, that's why when we talk about the timing on when certain storms come through, it's always better when they come in during prime heating. And that's what we're getting for today. It's coming in during prime heating. All right. Now, here's another thing we're looking at. This is your significant tornado parameter. All right. So as we go in for later this afternoon, bring it up till 4 o'clock. You're seeing some of this here across Alabama, especially some Mississippi here. This is where the hot action will be. Seeing a little bit kind of sneaking in North Georgia, but again, you notice that we're really not getting anything across North Georgia. So you guys up across extreme North Georgia, again, these extreme northern counties here from Clayton over to Dade, right up in here, I don't think you guys are going to see much there. The further south you go, obviously, the better it's going to be. All right. So one thing I didn't notice here on one of the things as I was looking through this thing earlier is I see this thing looks like it's tracking one little lone supercell potentially coming out of here, coming up toward the Gainesville area here, toward 10 o'clock tonight. I'm going to watch this closely. We'll see what that shows. But you see that was one thing that did stand out for me on that. But look where the best instability, the tornadoes parameters are down here across central Alabama, obviously close to where that enhanced area is there, and getting into extreme west Georgia there. And then this kind of moves on out, and we're done with that. All right. So we've got instability. We got some wind shear. That's changing winds with heights. So the tornado risk. So tornado risk, I'm not overly concerned about for extreme North Georgia. I think you guys are okay. Further south, getting toward Dahlonega, getting toward Gainesville, getting toward Metro Atlanta, a little bit better, but not bonkers. All right. So gusty winds. Yeah, we're probably going to see that. And then obviously we're going to have plenty of lightning with this. Make sure you take care of your pets tonight, especially if they don't like the boom and stuff. Because we're definitely seeing a lot. This is lightning, folks. This is pretty active lightning here coming across North Georgia, Alabama, coming in here for tonight. So we're going to have a lot of thunder and lightning with this as this comes on through. Notice the initial storms come on through, and then we still got some more thunder and lightning coming on through the overnight period. So we got definitely tracking some lightning and some storms with this here for tonight. And then after that, of course, we'll track the storms. Now, here's the other thing that I want you to pay attention. This is the 5 o'clock temperatures. It is cooler up here. We're in the 70s most of the day here. Look where we're sitting here in the 80s down here. So this is a big deal. Temperatures in the 80s are definitely much more conducive as far as supporting thunderstorms. You got more warmth, lighter air, more buoyant. That it makes a big deal. So we'll be paying close attention to the temperatures this afternoon. Where does this initial rains come through? How warm does it get? I did revise the afternoon temperatures down. If you saw my weather on the go, just a little bit for North Georgia. I think that's a big deal. That is a significant deal there for this. But again, my main concern today is probably going to be the flooding aspect of this. Okay, so that's probably the biggest concern for that. As a result, we do have a lot of North Georgia there in green. They're under a flood watch. You see the flood watch here stretching all the way back here through Alabama. This whole area in here under flood watch. It starts at 4 o'clock this afternoon, goes till 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, a lot of the creeks and rivers are obviously down. They can handle it because we're going to get a lot of rain coming at one time. We're also going to be seeing a lot we call training. That's the rains coming in from west-east, going over the same ground. We're kind of getting waves of showers and storms coming through us. So it's going to be a prolonged period with some of these heavier downbursts. So tonight you're probably going to hear some brief heavy rains and stuff. So the flood-prone areas that you know or are aware of, stay away from those. I'm sure the Chattahoochee up near Helen's probably going to come up quite a bit, real fast, and then it'll drop back down again. Hopefully we'll get a good soil absorption here on some of these heavy rains as it's moving on through the area. So once again, I want to go back here to the main picture here. Again, this is the latest from the Storm Prediction Center as we kind of watch what happens with this here for this afternoon. Again, a lot of this will shift down to the south going forward tomorrow, so we're not worried about tomorrow, and there's nothing after that. So, again, this is what we're looking at here going for this afternoon. Again, the prime hours for the severe weather, I feel it's going to be between 4 and 8 o'clock tonight, and then we should see things begin to taper off, at least based off the latest high-resolution model. I'll continue to watch this throughout the day and see how it goes. So my planning ahead for today is real simple, guys. Okay, we're going to do our normal forecast update like I typically do. Try to do it a little bit early, around 2 o'clock. That's just my normal standard forecast. 4 o'clock, we'll start doing it. We'll do a simulcast live on Facebook and on YouTube. YouTube is my preferred live severe weather coverage tool because just the way the algorithms work compared to Facebook. Facebook, you get that initial surge of people, and then it just kind of dwindles on and off because people come in, people come out. That's the nature of the beast when it comes to severe weather. Again, I'll be very clear about this. I'm not expecting a major outbreak here. All right. I think the areas where they are expecting active weather, it could be a decent little event, or it could be a complete bust, to be honest with you. I think there's just kind of borderline on a lot of different things here on this setup, and there was a little bit of a bust in some of the stuff that was going on yesterday. So we'll see what happens with this. Bottom line on this is I do expect us to get a lot of heavy rain out of this. I do expect a few thunderstorms. I do expect an isolated severe thunderstorm or two, maybe a few of them into the area, but I'm not expecting a major outbreak. But you do need to take precautions to get your property prepared for this. You don't want to have any damage to your house or your neighbor's house. And there could be some sporadic power outages. That's always a possibility as well as we go through for tonight. So again, that's y'all's update for today here on the Weather Report. Again, please share this with your family and friends. Make sure you give us a follow there on Facebook so you can stay up on the latest postings. And I will make sure I post the YouTube channel link on the Facebook page as well for you to come over there and subscribe. As you can see, we're actually had a nice little surge yesterday. We're over 12,000 on that. Hopefully I get that thing up to 25,000, which would be nice because at that level, you can actually start getting YouTube advertisers, which is another source of income as we try to build out this 24-hour weather channel. All right, that's it for now. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we will see you guys later today. Have a good day.